In Stevens County, Texas, cow-calf production continues to be the #1 agricultural commodity, with many farming efforts supporting ranching. Coastal Bermuda grass is a foundational forage for both grazing and hay production. Managing these pastures effectively is critical for maintaining productivity, especially in a region where rainfall can vary widely from year to year. The Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service in Stevens County conducted a results demonstration that was designed to evaluate how different grazing practices impact coastal Bermuda grass performance or yield under real-world conditions. This results demonstration sought to answer questions like, does short-term versus long-term grazing have an impact on hay production? And how can I best utilize my coastal pastures for both grazing and hay production? This demonstration was conducted in partnership with a local cow-calf producer who also grows coastal Bermuda grass and harvests so he can feed his calves throughout the winter. He has owned and managed these pastures since 1995. The two pastures we looked at are improved, sprigged coastal Bermuda grass pastures that are actively managed for both grazing and hay production. Fertility is guided by soil testing, and a consistent fertilizer program is followed. Weeds, invasive species including mesquite, are controlled as needed to maintain forage quality and pasture health. The two pastures used in this demonstration are highly comparable. They share a similar soil profile and are managed under the same fertility and weed control program. They are separated only by a 2-lane highway. This allows for a more accurate comparison where grazing duration is the primary difference between the two systems. Stocking rates across both pastures were maintained at approximately 1 cow-calf pair per 3 to 5 acres. While we do recognize this is somewhat heavier than the county average, these improved pastures are not grazed year-round. This allows for planned rest periods that supports both grazing use and hay production within the same system. We're also able to graze at a heavier rate because the pastures can support it. As with most operations in this region, forage production remains highly dependent on rainfall. For this demonstration, 2 grazing strategies were evaluated in 2024, and the yield for hay was compared in 2025. In Pasture 1, cattle grazed at the same stocking rate for approximately 30 days during the fall. In Pasture 2, cattle remained on pasture for over 150 days, from mid-July through mid-December. Aside from the length of grazing, both pastures were managed identically. This provided a clear comparison of short-term versus long-term grazing duration. During the summer months, Pasture 2 experienced extended grazing pressures following hay harvest, while Pasture 1 remained ungrazed. This allowed us to observe whether longer grazing duration would limit the pasture's ability to recover before the next growing season. As the season transitioned in the fall, Pasture 1 was grazed for a short, controlled period, while Pasture 2 continued under long-term grazing. This reflects a common decision point for producers, whether limiting grazing duration improves future hay production. By winter, Pasture 2 had undergone more than 5 months of grazing, while Pasture 1 had only been grazed briefly for 30 days. At this stage, differences in grazing pressure were evident, setting up the comparison for spring regrowth. In early 2025, both pastures were rested ahead of hay production. As temperatures warmed and moisture conditions allowed, coastal Bermuda grass began its spring greenup. Hay was harvested in mid-May of 2025, consistent with normal management practices. Across the operation, approximately 800 round bales were produced from 180 acres. This producer typically harvests 1 to 2 cuttings per year, although only 1 cutting was taken this season due to limited storage capacity. As expected, total production remained highly influenced by rainfall. Based on these results demonstration, grazing duration did not have a measurable impact on coastal Bermuda grass performance the following year. The pasture grazed for 150 days produced comparable yields to the pasture grazed for only 30 days. In this case, the long-term grazed pasture yielded just as much as the short-term grazed pasture. According to the producer, rainfall likely played a larger role in forage production than grazing practices during this study period. These results suggest that, under similar soil conditions and consistent management, extended grazing did not negatively impact coastal Bermuda grass hay production. For producers in Stevens County and across similar environments, this demonstration provides practical, locally relevant insight. Well-managed improved pastures, supported by appropriate fertility, stocking rates, and weed control, can maintain productivity during different grazing durations. Results demonstrations like this help connect real-world management with data-driven decision-making supporting long-term sustainability in forage-based operations.